Welcome to Vetted Conversations, coming to you from our 2026 Flag Day Convening in Washington, D.C. This is our live events series where we bring veterans, military family members, and community leaders together for the conversations that actually move the needle on civic engagement and patriotic participation. We're your veteran and military family member hosts, bringing you the conversations that matter. So let's get into it.
Okay, I'm going to start reading bios while everyone's getting their seats. So Brian von Herbulus is a retired Marine Corps lieutenant colonel who commanded special operations and reconnaissance units and was one of the original MARSOC members. Since retiring from active duty in 2014, he's focused on nonprofit leadership. He currently serves as vice president of programs at the Brickyard, formerly More Perfect Union, a veteran-led national civic and service nonprofit that strengthens communities and fosters national cohesion through social engagement, service, and civic connection. I had this all printed out, but it's not doing me any good sitting in my hotel room, so I'm going to have to... Heather Kelly is the Director of Advancement for the Travis Manion Foundation. While building relationships with their volunteer and partner community, she has the opportunity to assist in growing the presence nationwide. Prior to her current role, Heather led programming for veterans returning to civilian life, the surviving family members of those who make the ultimate sacrifice, and fostering America's next generation of leaders. Along with her work at the foundation, Heather is co-author of The Knock at the Door, 3 Gold Star Families Bonded by Grief and Purpose with Ryan Manion and Amy Looney Heffernan, published in 2019. Gabby Cabini serves as the Associate Director of Grassroots Advocacy for the VFW, where she leads the National Legislative Committee and mobilizes members nationwide to advocate on issues impacting veterans and their families. She spent much of her career advancing the VFW's legislative mission, with prior roles supporting veterans navigating VA benefits and managing grassroots advocacy efforts. Before returning to the VFW, she worked with Mercy Medical Angels to expand access to medical transportation and led transition support programming at Walter Reed. A military spouse and surviving widow, Gabby brings a deeply personal perspective to her work and remains active in the survivor community, including past leadership roles with Gold Star organizations and service on a VA Federal Advisory Committee. She holds a master's in political management from GW and resides in Washington, D.C. Welcome, everyone.
Thanks, man.
So this panel, it's no secret that life is feeling a little polarized here in the United States at the moment, but there are some great veteran leaders and organizations out there that are building bridges and modeling commitment to service and country over partisan politics, and we've got 3 of the best of them here today. So first question, what's your secret? Talk a little bit about what you do as an organization to accomplish those things, and really, what's the secret sauce? We'll just go ahead, Vaughn, start with you.
I think the place it starts with us, if you want to join the Brickyard and become an asset to your community and you want us to help get there, we start with a community agreement. And it's pretty simple. It's just, be respectful, be open-minded, and just be a decent human being and come in willing to listen to other people. So starting with ground rules, if you will, a community agreement is how every one of our events and every individual who joins our organization, that's how they start out with us.
Awesome, thank you. For us at Travis Manion Foundation, really the threads that run through everything we do are service and character. So keeping those at the forefront. We invest in veterans and families of the fallen through personal development, offering those opportunities to serve. So keeping that as that main focus. I don't think that politics has necessarily been a barrier for us. We see men and women step up and serve every day, regardless of who is in office. And those same men and women are going to take the uniform off one day and be looking for continued purpose, maybe struggling with transition. So those are those people that we're serving. And through those service projects and through our programs, really the goal is uniting Americans. So bringing together people from all walks of life, whether they're, in a chapter in Northern Alabama or San Diego, to serve together. And those programs are structured based on looking at the betterment of community. So looking people-centered, not politics-centered, and I think then, really when those labels can fade away, when you're part of something that's bigger than yourself, you share that shared commitment is what remains.
Thanks, Heather.
So the two main organizations that I've done most work with, Veterans of Foreign Wars and Gold Star Spouses of America, are both membership organizations. So there's an ownership as a member that those bring, and that's part of how we don't get embroiled in politics, because our main goal is how do we move forward the betterment of this community, period. And when that's the focus, those other noise can fade to the side.
And the VFW has the benefit, as does the Brickyard, of being hyper local, right?
Yes.
About how many chapters do you have now?
Well, we have 1.4 million members between VFW and our auxiliary. And we like to say there's a post in every congressional district. So we are literally everywhere, which most people know. If you've driven around this country, you're going to pass at some point a VFW post.
Nice. So I know, Vaughn, your organization is veteran-led, but you work with non-veterans. What do the veterans bring to the table, though? That's such a critical ingredient in what you guys do.
Yeah, we see veterans as catalysts throughout the country and in communities. They're an example of people that understand sacrifice. They're an example of people that have lived a life of service, and they often want to continue that. I mean, we've heard and listened to examples of that throughout the day. It's in their DNA to want to give. It's how they were raised in a system that offered them identity, which we've heard about. It offered them camaraderie or sense thereof within the military, and it offered them a sense of purpose. That's exactly what we're offering them as an organization. Identity, to be a leader in your community. We're offering them a chance to be a part of a group. Join your local Brickyard chapter. Be a part of something. Wear the t-shirt during a service project. So we're giving them a sense and an opportunity to also create purpose. And we feel like, unless you're going to run for political office at the federal level, for most of us, our sphere of influence is our local community. I just heard Jimmy talk about this a couple panels ago. He's back home in West Virginia, and he has made it his purpose to engage with people in his community. That's exactly what we're talking about, bringing that spirit and all of the attributes you learned in the military, whether it was a good experience or not. Clearly, there were some lessons learned that he is now bringing forward to his community, and that's what we're seeing in all of our chapters around the country. So we offer you those opportunities. We empower people that join our organization to be leaders within their community. We provide resources and training for them to do it effectively and bring others alongside them.
Yeah, I think very similar. So you saying veterans are that catalyst. We like to talk about that we think veterans are our community assets, and they can be that inspiration of service to the wider community. So, veterans, military-connected families, when they come to TMF, they've got backgrounds of teamwork and resilience and, putting the mission above themselves, and they're uniquely positioned to inspire that wider community. So, we see non-veterans notice, we see youth notice through our youth mentorship program. And when they're seeing other people in the community step up, they're more motivated to step up themselves. Service is contagious. You see it happening and those people are getting involved, you're gonna wanna step up and be involved. And that is just what's creating those more connected communities. So if we use those veterans that are already out there being leaders in their community, it's that inspiration to the wider community.
Yeah, so I really look at our VFW members and our surviving spouses as trusted local leaders. One of the great things about VFW is our 126-year history. So veterans today many times are walking into a situation that's already there. There's already a post, there's already members, there's already relationships with whatever is important in that community. And to the local point, every post that we have is different. What you're going to see in Colorado is not what you're going to see in New Jersey. What you see in New Jersey is not what you're going to get in New Mexico. And all of that goes to allowing those posts and those veterans who decide to get involved and take on leadership, that they're able to make whatever programming that post does be hyper-local to what the people in that area are. So they can take whatever is going on, whatever that area is really about, amplify it, jump on board, support it, and VFW Post members get involved in so many ways. And one of our big hashtags is still serving, because that's the through line, is they're still serving their communities.
Gabby, you mentioned earlier that, the local service orientation of the VFW posts helps you to naturally kind of be nonpartisan. But what other advice would you have for folks who are trying to structure nonpartisan events or engagement opportunities? Like for us, I know one thing we do is try and partner with sports leagues and sports teams and kind of take down the temperature a bit. What other advice would you have?
So we do a lot of things like for kids. We have scholarships, right? So there's a lot of other ways that you can pull in. It's for kids. So if you're a middle school student, high school student, there's contests, and then we bring them to DC. So it is pulling those locals in terms of the school kids at your local elementary school. And when they're connected with VFW and they're learning the general idea of we want to move veterans issues forward, the noise is the noise, that's how we do it.
Heather?
I think truly keeping it people-centered. So from the youth aspect, that's our keystone program at TMF. We do a youth mentorship program called Character Does Matter, and it's focused on character strengths. It's grounded in positive psychology. It's these pieces that are innate in all of us, regardless of where you fall on the political spectrum. We can talk about kindness and love of learning and humor and teamwork and humility, bringing that to people, and we weave all of that into what we do with adults as well, the personal development, the leadership development pieces, keeping it focused on what unites us versus what divides us.
I think looking for commonality, common ground, that's been said today. We train our leaders to look for that. Start there. Start social. You build trust with people by being social with them first. Keep it simple. Host people, throw a dinner party. We've been doing something this year. We partnered with an organization called Longer Tables, just because I thought it was fascinating. Sit people that you don't know together at one long table and having a conversation like adults. And we have prompts, we have topics to put on the table, and we have somebody who's the conversation host at different segments of the table. But we have a couple rules. No politics and no job titles. Just be a human being, an adult, and sit at the table and be participatory in whatever the topic, the prompt for conversation is. It's pretty simple. So keep it simple. There's enough politically charged garbage out there that most of us are looking for an escape from. And so that's what we work with all of our Brickyard leaders and teams and communities around the country. Just keep it simple. Bring people together socially. And then once you have built trust and trusting relationships with people, then you can start to ideate on projects of impact, community-based projects of impact. You can find great partners, whether it's a VFW post, an American Legion post, the Kiwanis Club, the Rotary Club, name one. They're still out there. Their numbers may have depleted in some cases, but they're still out there. There's still good organizations that exist. Find them, prop them up, partner with them, collaborate, co-brand, cost share, keep it simple, and work together to increase impact.
I love the long table idea. You guys are also partnering with an organization that sticks people on river rafts. Is that right? Did we talk about that earlier?
That would be a project and a program of mine that I would love to execute, just because I live in Idaho and there's lots of great natural waterway and lots of great rafting in Idaho. But there's an element to that. Like, remove people from the echo chambers of social media and everything that lands on their phone and things they pay attention to. Take them to environments where those things don't exist. You can't get connectivity in some places and spaces in this country. And when you unplug from it, it's amazing how good you feel when you go to a space where your phone doesn't work. Man, that feels good. So we are looking to implement some of those things as we continue to grow and scale. And I think it's going to be a recipe for us to train future leaders and for them to then take that type of idea back with these no phone engagement opportunities around the country.
Okay, so shifting gears a little bit here. Service for many of us comes at a cost. For some, that's very personal to some of the folks on this panel, the ultimate cost. How do your organizations help Americans understand what those sacrifices were for? Gabby, you want to start?
I think education is the biggest thing, making sure that we're telling the stories, which goes hand in hand with the legislative work that I do, because we need to tell the stories of what veterans, survivors, caregivers are dealing with, what their everyday life looks like. I'm not just a surviving spouse. My parents, my dad's a veteran. They're both, my mom's his caregiver in the comprehensive caregiver program. So it's really, in my opinion, about showing America and Americans what that cost is by telling the stories of the people who have actually dealt with it, who have actually lived it. And it's hard and it's rough, and not everybody wants to tell their stories. So one of the things I've been doing is we started a story bank specifically for this, but I don't say that you have to tell me your name or that we'll use your story with your name. And so many people have sent in their stories and have said, I don't want you to use my name, but I want people to know the story. I want them to know what it's like. And if we can do that, which is what VFW does with all of our millions of modes of communication, from magazine to the socials to our weekly newsletters that go out, it's telling the stories. People have to see to understand what we've been through.
Yeah, TMF's work with surviving families is really what drew me to the foundation, first as a volunteer before I ever had the opportunity to consider being a staff member. I lost my husband. He was a Marine, killed in Afghanistan back in 2010, and you kind of get disconnected from a bit of that community that you were a part of. And seeing the community that TMF had created that includes veterans, that includes families of the fallen, that includes civilians, and ways that we can, carry on our loved ones' legacy through action. The grief doesn't go away. It's been, over 15 years now, but the pride also doesn't go away. I'm still so proud of what Rob did and the ability to talk about, what he did and how he lived. And there's comfort in continuing their legacies in that way that TMF provides, a place, a purpose, and a platform. So the place of finding that community, this purpose of continuing our loved ones' legacies, and then that platform to do it through action and not just be a name on a memorial or in a textbook or in, a piece of history, but live it and put it into action. And I think that's something that sets TMF apart from a lot of other organizations that work with surviving family members, that we can grow from this experience, this grief and this loss, but be better members of our community for it and continue their legacy the way that they served by being back in our communities. And that was the value I found before I ever even, joined the staff, was just a part of the community that I love that we're able to do that for folks.
That's an area of growth for us as an organization. The Brickyard, like you mentioned, Ben, it's veteran founded. Many of the members of our leadership team and Brickyard leaders are veterans. So we say it's veteran led, veteran inspired, but not veteran exclusive. We are roughly 6% of the population, and we as veterans, I think, need to also learn how to assimilate back into society better in many ways, and not just be this parochial body. Like, there's importance in veteran advocacy. There's importance in respecting our service members, our fallen Gold Star families. It's not a focus area for us, but I will say for me personally, as a Marine who did lose Marines in combat, who carved a lot of names in monuments, who did the knock at the door on more than one occasion, I know firsthand the pain, the loss, the suffering, and the respect that we owe those families. So it drives me in my work every day. I believe in honoring them, their legacy, speaking their names often, and it is a driving factor as to why I do the work I do. I am involved in nonprofit work, community-based nonprofit work, to be honorable, to honor that legacy, that sacrifice, and to know that I have the opportunity to empower and enrich the lives of other people in this work, which is what propels me forward every day doing this.
So in terms of ways that we can all kind of honor the sacrifice of others and continue that legacy, what are some of the things that you kind of work with your members, and what are things that, you know, the folks in this room can kind of move through their own organization to encourage people to do? Like, what are a couple concrete things, and how does your organization kind of help folks take that first step? Gabby, go.
So I'll talk about a little Gold Star spouses. One thing that we've done is I'm part of the Arlington chapter, which is more about Arlington National Cemetery than Arlington, Virginia. So during Christmas time, you know, Wreaths Across America is awesome. We love it. But we go a little step further, and my dad is an illustrator, so I took a Christmas wreath that he had illustrated, and we sent that out to our members and to any surviving spouse anywhere, and said, if your loved one is at Arlington, send me a message, we'll write it on there, we'll print these out, and our members will go and place these the week after the wreaths are laid at Arlington. And then we'll take a picture and send it to you so that you know your loved one is not alone, because you may be across the country. You may not be able to get here. There may not be anybody you know that you could ask to just go there for a few moments. So that's something with all the cemeteries that are all across the country. Like, my husband is buried at home. I could have buried him in Arlington, but I thought back then, when am I ever going to be in DC? I've been here for 12 years. So, but he's at home in a cemetery with his best friend's grandparents, and where my parents have bought their plot. So I will be buried with him, and my parents will be right by us because it's the veteran section. So things like that on Memorial Day, asking your surviving families, a veteran who has lost somebody, is there something we can go do together at the cemeteries? It means a lot. And when the families see that, when I see his friends, my family going there, I love it, because I can't do it, but I do it for my surviving spouses here.
For us at Travis Manion Foundation, we kind of ground everything we do in words that were spoken by First Lieutenant Travis Manion. Before he left on his last deployment, he said, "If not me, then who?" He was talking to his brother-in-law about having to go back to Iraq, and he said, "If I don't go, who will?" And so we took those words following his death. His sister Ryan, who is our CEO now, talks about, that was what grounded their family, that gave this sort of catalyst for our mission. And those are the words we ask our members to live by in our youth programming. That's the words we leave with kids. We leave them wristbands that say, "If not me, then who?" We hope they'll look down, because we know that positive change starts with just one person saying yes. That you can step up, you can, join on the holidays or Memorial Day, visit a national cemetery, you can volunteer for a park cleanup, you can mentor youth. Doing one thing is going to help start that ripple effect through your community. So if you can take that idea, that if not me, then who, put it into all that you do. It is, when we talk to kids, it's picking up a piece of trash. It's being big in little things, so you can be big in big things. And we hope that that's that message that we can share with folks. Do with it in the way, that makes sense for your life, but step up, say yes, be that person that's going to serve.
I've always loved that. If not me, then who? I mean, what a great slogan to live by for every human being. Step up and be a leader. Seize opportunity, seek it, and seize it. You don't have to have all of the ideas. I mean, there are great organizations out there doing things. You just have to pay attention sometimes and seek them out. So some of our our brickyard leaders and community members that we engage with, they feel like they have to come up with whiz-bang solutions to things, and they really don't. You know, I go back to promote the keep it simple methodology and just look around you and figure out the best way as an organization, as a brickyard chapter, you can promote the good work being done by others. So that's what we encourage. Again, we don't need to take all the credit. We can do good by promoting the good work being done by others, whether it's Wreaths Across America, other celebrations happening, recognitions happening. Just encourage your membership base to go be a part of something and promote it as goodness within your community. So we don't always have to be parochial and take credit for everything.
Fair enough. Well, I think we hit time just about on the money, so that's probably a good place to leave it. Thank you all so much for being here.
Thank you.
Thanks.
That's a wrap on this conversation. Thank you to our panelists for showing up, speaking openly, and reminding us why this work matters. If this resonated with you, subscribe to Vetted Conversations wherever you get your podcasts and pass it along to someone who needs to hear it. To learn more about We the Veterans and military families, head to wetheveterans.us. We'll see you on the next one.